Hello, and welcome back to The Wrinkle. Have you ever heard the term fiblet? No, it's not something you wear around to count how many steps you've done that day, but it's basically a therapeutic lie. Is that something we should be using in geriatrics? Well, on the face of it, you might think, no, it's not ethical to tell a lie, even if it has a cute name like a fiblet. It's just not right to not be truthful. But here's an example. Suppose you go to see one of your patients who's living in a long-term care home, and they ask the question, when am I going home? When am I going to get out of here? Now, as a physician, or even as a family member, because you might hear those questions as well, you know that the person is going to be staying in long-term care for the foreseeable future, and probably for the rest of their life. You might also recall that you get this question constantly. So a person who's got short-term memory change might ask this question repeatedly, for example, every time you meet. So it is very painful. So you could certainly have a fact-based discussion and remind the person that they're going to be in long-term care for the rest of their life, but that might produce some negative emotions on the part of the person. And again, this might be something that you'd have to repeatedly do every single time you visit. A fiblet can be a strategy that can be used to handle the question in a respectful way that isn't upsetting for the person. So in that way, it's therapeutic. So you might say, well, when you improve in terms of your health to the point where you could live on your own again, that's when you'll be able to go home. Or you might just use a fiblet that's a little bit less specific and more evasive. So you might say, you know what, we can't talk about that today, but I'm here to talk about your rash. So let's move on about that. Or I'd like to talk about how your knees are doing these days. So you could use an evasive fiblet. Do you think that fiblets are right? I mean, they are lies. They do have that word fib in them. I have to say that I have used therapeutic fiblets before, and I've encouraged family members to use them as well. We're kind of going on the principle that it's for the greater good, that we want the person to feel good and feel confident and to save face, and we don't want to go over something that's negative and hurtful, which in the context of short-term memory we might have to do repeatedly. So we're using the fiblet to kind of go into the world of the person who's living with dementia and to frame things in a way that would fit within the context of what they perceive as being the way things are. So that's fiblets. Little white lies, therapeutic ones though, that we use in caring for people who are living with dementia when difficult questions come up. Tell me what your thoughts are about that. I honestly couldn't find very much in the literature about therapeutic fiblets, so I'm just going by what I've talked about with my colleagues and what I do in my clinical practice. But I would love to hear your perspective. So please comment and share your thoughts. And let me know what else you'd like to hear about here on The Wrinkle.